You're listening to a Destiny Park Media podcast.
I was whistling that song because I'm playing Street Fighter, the new Street Fighter 6, and I'm playing as a boxing character. Mm-hmm. I've been playing as him for a little while, but I started to make a EPO playlist, like music playlist. So I started adding like some of like the songs that are in the show, and now like I do ranked matches with the music playing. So
holy crap!
Yeah, it's fun.
Is EPO on Spotify?
Like, yeah, some of the stuff is on there actually. So it's pretty great. It's pretty great. Welcome everyone, by the way.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, this is the Adolescence podcast. Just talking about my love for the EPO soundtrack and the music, and just my love for boxing in general.
Yeah.
How's it going with you, man?
It's going good.
Yeah.
Street Fighter 6, that's been out for a while, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's not a new game really anymore. So it's I took a break from it for a while, and then I think, honestly, after watching, us watching EPO and kind of me trying to get more into just kind of the boxing flow and stuff like that, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pick back up Street Fighter again. There is a boxing character in there that I do want to learn. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of started this journey, like trying to learn him and his combos and stuff like that. Just kind of keep this boxing momentum going. So yeah, there we are.
Getting some exercise.
Yeah. Getting some true exercise, really working my thumbs, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, those thumbs are jacked.
My hand-eye coordination is tight.
I did see Darkside Phil's coverage of Street Fighter 6. I really did. And from his point of view, the game has a lot of issues with rollback netcode and
Jesus
dropped inputs. So I think we should take that really seriously. No, I'm kidding. Right?
The FGC.
The FGC. Yeah. You know what that means.
Yeah.
But, you asked how I was doing, and I was Oculus sliding all the way over here just because I was...
Imagine on the highway just doing that.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. Literally, just doing that slide the whole way over.
We were like, what the fuck is going on?
That's actually how I always drive to your house. Yeah.
That's pretty true. You're definitely a drifter. You have the car for it, actually, don't you?
I don't want to dox my car.
That's true. But I mean, there's many drifting
we got
cars.
Crazy fans, but yeah, I got a pretty sick car, man.
Yeah.
Pretty sick car. It's it is a Hyundai.
Hyundai, as they say it overseas.
Oh,
yeah, very fancy.
I'm going Hyundai. And Veloster.
Yeah, by the way, I think I told you this when I first saw your car, but I was like, oh, this used to be like one of my favorite cars. Like when I was in high school, I always wanted the Velociraptor. Or excuse me, the Velociraptor. That's what I used to call it. But the Velociraptor, I used to call it that. But it had a 3-door setup. Mm-hmm. Your car had 3? Okay.
Yeah, still does.
Yeah, I thought that was unique. I always like really like unique things, and I thought that car was really unique. That and the Eclipse. You remember the Eclipse in high school? The Mitsubishi Eclipse?
This is the sad part of the podcast where we finally have something not in common. I don't care about cars at all.
That's okay.
No, but I appreciate that you like my car. And one of my favorite pranks is to get 4 people together and say, "Come on, guys, let's jump in real fast." And, the three of the cool guys get in.
You guys knocking on the side of the door like, "Hey!"
It's like when I get an Uber that's a Tesla. I can't find the door.
Yep. Like, how do I open this shit?
Yeah, Mike, is this a Tesla?
No, you can't get in.
Is this a Tesla?
Tesla. It's only for 3 people.
Sorry.
There's 4 seats.
But anywho, no. Life is good.
Yeah.
In the garden that I'm growing, so to speak.
I've been hearing some chatters about some continuous running, some personal bests,
some chatters.
I've been hearing some chatters out there.
There's rumors. Yeah, I'm still running, and
congrats.
Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. Every week. I think that's good motivation to have a podcast because there's going to be one week where if I were to stop doing it, I'd either lie or I would feel bad and go, I didn't do it this week just because I ate too much. I had too many beers.
Yeah. I was a little lazy one day.
That's one of my favorite blanket excuses is too many beers. Yeah. Like if I forget something that a friend told me, I'll say, sorry, man, too many beers.
There's definitely a Minnesota, like Wisconsin, like excuse that would rock with I think a lot of people would be like, yeah, of course, yeah.
Too many cheese.
That makes sense. Too much cheese heads. Too much cheese blocks.
But I have been running still, and like I had a great writing device the other day where I had the characters from Hajime no Ippo commenting on my run, where the coach said, kid, that's not what you want. Your average mile time is slower. But then Takamura said, listen, old man. Or no, what does he say? He said, I got to get the accurate dialogue for my thing that I wrote.
Oh, yeah, sure, for your fanfic.
No, don't be too hasty, old man. Old man, why you? And then he says, he may have gone slower, but take a look at the duration. And then everyone just freaks out. Honestly, I was kind of offended that Ippo was the least enthusiastic and was very condescending. And
he's just down-talking you.
He just says, I'm just glad Michael's getting out there every other day. Like, that's all he says.
Right. And just like, he ran past you as he was saying that, by the way.
He was treating me like I'm Barf Michi or something.
Barf Michi.
Thank you. That's, we haven't covered that part of the series, but there is a character named Barf Michi.
Mm-hmm. Little cameo.
Little cameo. We'll talk about him. He's a good guy. But
the Ippo-verse.
Yes. Enter the Ippo-verse. It's expanding. Other than that, what I got going on is I did some overtime on Friday for like 6.5 hours. It's the last check before my dog's surgery. So
sure.
Shout out to Chloe.
Shout out to Chloe, sir.
She's 11 years old. She's an American Staffordshire boxer mix. And I'm really hoping that it just goes super routine and they don't find anything of interest.
Sure. They're just kind of removing just a bump, basically.
Just a cosmetic removal.
Cosmetic surgery.
Just for her 11th birthday.
Yep.
But yeah, she was cuddling with me today and she was being such a good dog, and I just made sure to appreciate the moment, and now we have a record of that as well.
Oh, nice.
In case anything were to... I'm talking about the pod is the record.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I didn't record it. Maybe I should have. But no, she's a very sweet dog, very good dog, and hoping for the best for her.
Yeah,
but
as am I.
I did take a mental health day. Actually, you know what? Have you ever had it where you don't take a mental health day? You take a, like, I'm pissed day? Like, because I feel like there's a difference between being super burnt out and kind of getting pissed off at your job and all your various circumstances outside your control.
No,
Some might say that's mental health. I personally categorize it a different way.
It does fall in a little bit of a different bucket, but have I taken a day off because of it is a great question. No. I must have. I do have times where, my tolerance level fluctuates, I guess, depending on the season. So generally in this time period, I'm a little more numb to some of that. I do have frustrations and stuff, but a lot of times I'm able to usually break away, and things have changed just like family-wise, where like it works to my advantage a little bit more than it used to.
Yeah.
So I'm with you on that. And by the way, I actually respect having a day to kind of like, I don't know, like debrief or just to do something like enjoyable. Like when you're in that space, like I'd be in headspaces like that where I'm like, yeah, I just want to like do something where like I'm doing like, I don't feel like I'm obligated to do other things because I'm not like in the mood for that. Like I just want to do like whatever I feel like doing. So I feel you on that.
You're a dad and a husband, so you can't take a break from those things.
Yeah.
No, fortunately.
Yeah. Not. I mean, it's those things are kind of will always be there. So it's like, but to have the breaks that I would be taking from things like that would be like times of day.
I guess
or different days, like in the week and stuff like that, where it's more open and less open and stuff like that. And I have those days, which is nice. So
this counts as a break, I think.
Yeah, this does.
I hope.
Yeah, no, this definitely does.
You don't have to father me too much.
Yeah, I was like, you're not constantly asking me to play with you.
I'm not trying to eat stuff I shouldn't.
Right, get that out of your mouth.
Mike, stop.
No, I'm past that. I'm actually past that phase right now. We're in the play with me era, which I actually think is great. But as a only child, you have to be the entertainer.
Yeah.
And so that's...
I saw a TikTok where... And I you can continue that train of thought, but I saw a TikTok where there was a mom who was like proudly saying, "I do not play with my kids." And I'm not saying this is like I'm not judging her, but she was very proud about it. I'm not judging. I don't have kids, but she was proud. She's like, I look at you parents on TikTok and I think, I can't believe you're playing with your kids. We do not play with our kids here. We have them play with each other.
Yeah, you have that makes more sense if you have other kids.
Yeah, but like and she's like, and I feel terrible. They come up to me and ask. I used to feel terrible. They would come up and ask for me to play with them, and I would just say no.
Just say no.
Yeah. And then now they don't ask me. They just go and figure out how to play on their own.
Yeah, it's like the 90s or the 80s or the 70s.
Yeah,
and the 60s.
If I learned anything from it and Stranger Things, and it's like kids did not get hurt or in dangerous situations.
Put themselves in danger and risk of life.
Environs, yes. Let's go back to decades past.
I mean, so there is I guess the beauty lies in the balance between her side and mine. Well, not to say, her versus me. It's really not even about that, because I understand the attitude, but I feel like it's a give and take. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have more kids, then I would initially have them play with their siblings as a first line of entertainment, especially if I was like busy or something like that. Yeah. Which makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, you want to play. Here's a younger person who also likes to play. Why don't you link up, get that going? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But in a situation where it's not like that, I feel funny saying that to just do your own thing. And I have moments where I'm like, do that for a little while, and I'll meet you with that in a little bit.
Sure.
So I have times of that, but if I was just sitting around generally and not doing anything, and then they asked me to do that, and I was like, no, but then I'm not really doing anything, I don't know, it seems weird to me. But they should obviously learn to entertain themselves, but but I don't know. It's an interesting, like I said, there's a middle.
There's a conversation to be had where there's
just like everything in parenting. Yeah, there's some middle thing, like it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Yeah. There's a book for it and there's a book against it.
Thank you.
They're both kind of correct.
You're right.
I don't have a child. I think I misled the audience in one episode where I called it like delightfully devilish dads talk about Dan to Dan.
Oh, that's cute.
And that was a reference to Dad Men. Mm-hmm. But nobody knows about it.
It's a deep cut.
Yeah, it's a real deep cut. But so there might be some beautiful bodacious babes listening that go, "Oh, he's already a father. This is too bad."
Well, no, you're pulling them in more when you do that. See that
they want what they can't have.
Thank you. That's the key. So that's usually why I try to keep my anonymity. Anonymity.
Well, I like that you're talking about this. I can see you've been watching those Andrew Tate clips I've been sending you.
Speaking of Andrew Tate, I was watching Adolescence.
This podcast is taking a far right turn.
The far right.
Yeah. That's another Oculus slide thing where
we're kind of hitting it on the innuendos and references there.
Yeah. Well, so we'll get into the adolescence stuff.
I'm teasing ahead.
The one of the things I did on that day off was edit Oculus slide as I do. Mm-hmm. But I also went to my local cinema.
Oh, nice. Would you?
You should have kept it going, man. That was the best acting you've ever done.
Yeah, what you end up watching?
Oh, you ever heard of this guy, Bugs Bunny?
Yeah, I remember him from the past. Yeah,
Chuck Jones created him.
Chuck Jones. I didn't know the name of the creator.
Yeah. And he's from a little series called Looney Tunes.
Mm-hmm. This is a little vintage for the younger listeners out there. Looney Tunes, Tiny Toons. These are all like 90s, 80s, Looney Tunes is an old cut.
Real old, like 30s. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
When you really think
Respect
about the 30s.
My opinion on Looney Tunes has always been that it's not really something I go out of my way to watch, but I respect its place in history and respect how much influence it has had and the amazing animation it has, not just now, but
it is very good.
Yeah.
It's always been very good
because it was being screened on giant screens all over the country, in between newsreels and the like.
So, fantastic animators.
Yeah, they said, okay, this is most animation, most television, most film is garbage, but this is going to be a big deal. It's going to be on giant screens. And
you want to hear a cute story about Looney Tunes?
Sure.
So I was. When I was younger, I was watching Nickelodeon, and Nickelodeon would sometimes play like old reruns of Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
And I would watch it, and I thought it was pretty funny. My dad one day was sitting down and watching me watch it, and he started laughing. And I was like, why is that relevant? Because usually when I'm watching cartoons, and generally in that time period with parents, they're not watching a ton of kids' cartoons. So the fact that he was watching it, one, and two, it made him laugh, like good couple laughs. It was like astonishing to me as a kid.
Wow.
I was like, oh, he laughed at that. It was funny.
That's cute. Man.
Yeah.
You're like, holy shit.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
This stuff must be good.
It's good. He laughed. That was great.
You write down Tasmanian Devil.
Yeah. Hilarious.
Act more like him.
Yeah. No, I was surprised that he found it enjoyable. And that's so funny. As a kid, that's like a one-time like memory thing.
Yeah.
And it's still in my head, like very clear. We always have these weird memories that like they're very random sometimes, but like that's one of them I thought was cool that I just always remember. Like, oh, he laughed at that show.
Oh, thanks for sharing that. That's awesome.
It's cute.
My dad has always had a mixed opinion on cartoons. Not a very consistent man in that regard.
Sure.
He would like talk shit about the fact that Joe and I liked watching cartoons. But then when Adult Swim got started, or this was even before it was called Adult Swim.
Sure.
Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Yes.
That was airing late night on Cartoon Network. And he loved that show.
Yeah.
Loved it. And honestly, that's some of my best memories with my dad is like watching that show and just like we were both dying laughing at the same thing. And it's very rare for he and I to be laughing at the same like TV show. So
yeah, there's a weird. It's very cute, but there's an interesting thing about laughing with your parents when you're a kid that like resonates. I see it like on my daughter, like when I get caught laughing at something that's funny and she's like, so like it catches her, like she's like, oh
yeah,
but then she's like, it makes her laugh, but like she's surprised.
Yeah. And she's like, we gotta. Well, I feel like when you're a kid and that happens, you do try to find a way to make it last as long as possible.
Yeah, like play it again, or like
so you'll redo the joke multiple times.
Yes.
And that's it's understandable because as a kid you just want to make your parents happy, and you also want them to get you snacks and
and I think you see them differently, like when they're doing like from a joy. Not to say that you don't have joy when you're with them generally, but it's a different. It's an outward emotion that like comes out of you that's different than like the general like humdrum stuff. So. Yeah,
because you're the big cheese, you're in charge, but when you are laughing with them, it's like, oh, we're like taking a moment off.
Yeah, we paused. Yeah. This is funny.
And then it almost gives a glimpse into like who the parent was before they had kids.
Right.
So that's really mystifying to a child.
Yeah. I love that though. That's what I love about kids is they see things in a cool angle that when you're older, you lose that angle.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Well, and what was I going to say? I do remember seeing when me and Luna hung out that one time, if like you and I were both laughing about a joke and she understood it too, she was like super shocked and like,
yeah, you saw the face.
Yeah, and she would be surprised that I said something kind of goofy. Yeah. And like, God, there was one thing that I said that she really liked. It was the Peppa Pig.
Yeah, the Peppa.
All I said was, it was really dumb, like, shit posting stuff. I saw a Peppa Pig book and I went, oh, Peppa Pig. And she like kept bringing that up later.
That's so funny.
But yeah,
it's good times.
When you're a kid, you meet a funny adult. That's why uncles are such a important.
Indeed.
As long as they're the good kind of.
Yes, of course.
Funkle.
Yeah, the good fun uncle.
The gunkle, the good uncle. So, but anyway, back to Bugs.
Yep.
Yeah, Doc, I've been waiting over here.
Yeah,
Doc.
he has been waiting for us. I used to have a poster of him on my wall when I was a young lad. Yeah, okay. This is like during he made a comeback a few times. But especially in the 90s with the Space Jam stuff.
And then also on Street Clothes, there was like Looney Tunes Street Clothes. And I remember I saw it as a kid. I'm like, what?
Oh, you're talking about the clothing line. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the 90s were really interesting for the Looney Tunes because they really came back heavy.
Yeah, but like, so one fun fact about Space Jam is that Chuck Jones, the original creator of Bugs Bunny and a few other amazing cartoon characters, he was pretty critical of that movie because, and this is so funny because it's totally like how you and I have talked about anime on this show. Sure. But he says like, this is so out of character because Bugs could solve this problem with the aliens and like, I think he said in like 10 minutes. Sure. By himself.
The intellect.
By himself. Because he not only is he super smart, but he's a master manipulator. And
True.
He F's with people. He destroys their conception of their sexuality.
Mischievous, man.
One of the first queer icons because he's dressing up, as a girl, and
he was very fluid.
And that's cool.
Yeah. Bugs is fluid for sure.
Yeah, but anyway, so my point is that I saw the Looney Tunes movie the day the Earth blew up.
Yes,
and I did this for very virtue signally reasons.
Really,
because it's a like traditional. It was digitally animated, but it's a traditional animation, not like CGI.
Oh, cool.
So I wanted to support that in theaters.
Nice.
And I believe it was getting great reviews. And that's not like what pushes me to like see something, but it's like a nice feather in the cap.
Sure.
But also,
I love a good reviewed movie.
Yeah. WB, they've been like shelving a ton of movies as we've talked about on the show. Zaslav is an idiot and an asshole. And this movie could have been shelved, but luckily a distributor bought it.
Oh, cool. Okay, that's how it got released.
It's an indie distributor called Ketchup Entertainment.
Interesting. Okay.
And so that's why you haven't seen much marketing for it. Like when I texted you about it, you said, holy crap, they have a new Looney Tunes movie?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I felt until like, because I heard about it like a while back, like a few months back.
Oh, sure.
And then I heard it had been out for weeks. But I didn't see anything until that point,
Interesting. That's so very interesting.
But I saw some stuff that made me curious about it. There was like the promotion has been asked, there was a promo clip a few months back and it had really great animation. So I had it on my radar just as an animation lover.
Sure.
But I realized like, oh crap, this is going to go out of theaters soon because it's really underperforming.
Right.
So we're going to be bringing back the fan favorite segment.
Yeah.
And we have been asked to bring this back. Flop or flip?
Yes.
I have gotten feedback. Not like, this is like subconscious feedback, but people keep calling it flip or flop.
Yes, which was a show. Ironically, I don't know if you remember this, but Flip or Flop.
Oh, is that Gaines? Is it the Gaines?
No, but it was an HGTV show.
Yeah.
From Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
Weirdly enough.
Got it.
Called Flop or Flip. I could be remembering that wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. It was from this company in Minnesota, the realty company.
Yeah.
And they had like a couple seasons.
So people are calling the show the wrong name or the segment the wrong name. It is probably an indictment that they are thinking of it a different way, but I like to zig when people think I'm going to zag. So the name will stand.
As it should.
And my goal is that when we're doing our live show at a theater with thousands of people,
absolutely,
when I say, guys, it's time for your favorite segment, half of the audience will scream, flip or flop. Yeah, and the other half will be correct and say flop or flip. And then they'll start fighting.
People boo in the crowd. They're booing at the other people that said it wrong.
I'm a Jallah head.
Jallah.
I'm a Dermot lover. Yeah.
I love Dermot.
Dermot, when are you going to play some music? This is a podcast.
Play that song that you don't like. Do you have a song like that, by the way, where you're like, don't ask me to play that song? Yeah, I do, actually. Okay.
And I've written the set list for the show in a few months, and it is not on the set list.
Oh, it's not? Okay. Yeah, of course.
But I don't really have any like hardcore fans who are gonna like show up to that show that are not also my friends.
Sure.
So like I can get away with not playing.
No, of course.
Because like once I become like big and have like fans, let's say they're driving down from another state or something.
Sure.
I'm gonna play like. If there's songs on Spotify that are my biggest ones, I'll play them.
You lean to towards that.
I'm not at that level right now, so I have the freedom to play like what I want, and a lot of that happens to be some of my most played stuff on Spotify.
Nice.
This one song, I'm not a huge fan of it for whatever reason, but I won't say it just because I don't want to spoil.
Oh, sure.
I don't want to hurt anyone's love of the song.
Good point. Yeah, but let's do that.
Yeah, and we've talked about that on Dad Man. And speaking of dad. Let's talk about our dads more.
Let's speak more about our fathers.
Daddy, why?
Why?
But it's flop or flip. And the way I've refined the rules a little bit.
Okay, let's hear them.
So last time what we did was we would describe the plot of the movie.
Yep.
And we would describe like our experience watching the film. And then the other person would guess if it was a flop, which means we didn't like the movie and we think it's not so good. Or a flip where we're like pleasantly surprised or we love the movie. And,
sure.
But I think we should do 3 questions because we had unlimited questions before.
Okay. I like the 3 question limited. Yep.
Makes me think of an old wizard where he's like, I shall give you questions 3. And,
3 questions.
And if you guess right, the flipping
will commence.
Will commence upon thee. But I don't know.
No, it's good. I think limiting it to 3 is great.
Okay, I'm glad you.
Because then I can strategically ask. Ask away.
And then I can see you like in your head. You're doing like a Dempsey roll, and
I'm thinking Dempsey roll. I'm thinking counter.
Thinking you got a coach on your shoulder.
Yep.
Come on, kid. So
I'm thinking Eye of the Tiger, that type of thing.
All right, let me tell you about the movie.
Let's hear it.
And not give away the ghost.
Yes.
Give up the ghost, so to speak.
As it will, yeah.
So, this is a film about 2 characters. Actually, 3.
Okay.
The main dudes are Daffy Duck and Porky Pig. And
the supporting cast, generally.
Yeah, and the film takes place in a universe where those 2 were brought up together as brothers.
Interesting. Okay, cool. So we're changing some rules.
And they've done that for like, this is a separate genre, but like, or not genre. Well, yeah, separate genre. There's Muppet movies where like Kermit and Fozzie are brought up as brothers. So that's what.
Oh, that's really awesome. I like that.
It's a great like plot device to give like these 2 people who are really not alike. One's straight laced, one's more goofy.
Yep.
And this movie has that dynamic as well.
Okay. Who's the straight man between?
Is this one of your 3 questions?
This must be, yes. Yeah.
All right.
This is going to be one of them.
All right. Well,
who's the straight man?
I think I can guess why you're asking that, and we'll get into that for sure.
Sure.
Porky is the straight man in this.
Okay. I had a feeling.
Yeah. He's a very neurotic young man, and I'm not. Yeah, he's just kind of more. He sweats the details. You know? He sweats the details.
Sure.
He's a good guy.
I'm using like all my like Looney Tune history.
Yeah.
Like to like of how I know them and thinking like, okay, well, Porky Pig, like he was goofy too, but like in his own way, not obnoxiously like how Daffy is.
Yeah. So they were brought up by this guy named Farmer Jim, who. He is no longer in the picture. They've like done a metaphor for him passing on. That's pretty funny. I won't spoil that right now.
Sure.
But they are taking care of this house on their own, and a house inspector visits them and says, you need to get your house cleaned up or it's going to be like foreclosed upon.
Sure.
Where the bank's going to own your house.
Sure.
That type of thing. So what follows is they try to have a bunch of different jobs, and
they're living in... Oh, shoot, there's another question.
Well, I'll just continue just talking about the plot for a bit. I don't want you to run out of questions.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So eventually they're really in a dire situation because they can't seem to make a job last, and they are at this diner and they meet Petunia Pig, who is the female pig that is Porky's love interest in the old cartoons.
Sure.
But in this film, she's a flavor tester, and she's trying to create a new flavor of gum that will make people's heads explode. And then she always adds, not literally.
That's funny.
and so she is portrayed in a, like, it's kind of a faithful way to the old cartoons, but also she is more like neurotic and not in a Porky Pig way, but in a scientist way. Like, she's more put together and smart than he is.
Okay.
But Porky has his moments too. So what comes to be is that there was an alien invasion that's taking place through gum. Yeah, but she helps Porky and Daffy get a job at this gum factory. Hijinks ensue. I won't give a whole rundown of the movie, but there's an alien character as well.
Okay.
And he has a, like, basically a beaker type. I don't know why I keep bringing up the Muppets, but he has a secondhand man who is infected already with the gum virus. It looks like gum, but it's like a...
It's really not gum.
It's an invasion of the body snatchers type thing where it's taking control of the people and making them just mindless drones for the aliens. And you don't know why. And then I'll just give some comments. The animation in this picture, it's not like it ever like blows me away. Like it's not like an event picture in any way.
Sure.
There's two modern jokes in the whole film.
Two modern jokes.
Yeah. So what I mean by that is that they couldn't exist at any other point in time.
Got it.
Everything else is very evergreen. And honestly, it's not a very big movie, even though it talks about alien invasion and such.
Sure.
And Bugs could have solved this in 10, 20, 30 minutes at most. So. But that's why I love that. I said something positive. But I do love that this is about Porky and Daffy because those are more side characters. And fun fact, this is the first non-live action Looney Tunes movie. So that's also why I wanted to see it, because it is a big milestone for the franchise.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
So they never had just a full animated movie.
Never. No. For theaters, no.
That's interesting.
For like films that were straight to DVD and on TV. If those count as films.
Right.
They did that, but never in theaters. Like,
interesting.
They only did Back in Action, which was like Brendan Fraser and some other smaller actors.
Got it.
I don't mean small; they were big enough to be in a theater movie, but
of course,
people you don't hear about as much anymore. And then of course Space Jam, which
the big one.
Yes, it's which Chuck Jones. You're like, Mike, you already said that.
He has a Goku thing with bugs.
He's a power scaler. He's a power scaler.
He's power scaling in this is completely obnoxious.
It's so funny to hear someone say that about Looney Tunes. And at first I was like, come on, dude, it's Looney Tunes. But then I'm like, no, he's
saying the same.
He's the creator of the show, and he's like right. Like,
he's like, this guy would have this problem wouldn't exist. But
so it's the show evolved into this new, like, there was a reason for it, which was we had to get all these characters to sell the plushies to Lola. She's a beautiful young lady. Yeah,
Lola's great. Great animated bunny character.
She's if you rewatch the movie now, she's really nothing. She's nothing.
You know what's... Thank you.
There's nothing going on there. And that's so there's nothing wrong with like a character that's pleasing to the eye and sexy.
Sure.
This is a bunny we're talking about.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
It's transparently done to like keep the dads. This is the dad
into
episode.
But you know what's even funnier about
or the girls or anyone who likes
anyone who enjoys Lola
who doesn't realize they're a furry.
Yes, thank you.
I don't want to be heteronormative and go it's for the dads.
I know, but you know
what I meant.
Yes, exactly. We're of an era, but I mean, I think
we're of an era.
We are of an era. It's true.
Damn it.
No, but the funny thing about I think the Lola thing is interesting just because if they saw what they do now with the animated characters, like Lola is like actually really not. There's not even like a lot going on there, like from a sexual suggestive way. Like it's actually very tame.
Yeah. You talking about like anime?
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying but I think anime probably has really taken that throne and.
Well, it was already.
They
in the 80s. They had nudity up the wazoo.
Yeah, because if you really think about American cartoons, they don't live in the same space that they once did.
Yeah. But anyway, my point was only that she really doesn't have a personality except for that she's good at basketball, and then
she's cute. And she dangles the carrot in front of Bugs' face.
Was that literal or not literal?
It was both.
Okay, got it.
She literally, I actually don't remember if she does.
Teases him.
She does tease him.
Or red pill.
Yeah, there you go. Red
teasing
pill.
him.
She's teasing him. She's bringing him in.
Never gonna happen. This is why I'm Volcel.
This is why you blue pills out there.
Yeah.
I have no idea how to speak manosphere talk.
Neither do I. No,
I'm trying, but
I can't even pay attention for more than like 30 seconds to one of those guys.
No.
They're just
insufferable
goofballs.
Yeah. So here's my questions.
Yes, you have 2 questions. We just went down the most insane tangent ever. That's so perfect. I'm talking about a sexy bunny.
Yep.
You start talking about
Manosphere.
Yeah. And then you're like, well, there's a lot of sexy cartoons.
Yeah, they're out there. But anyway.
We're of a certain time.
Yeah, we're definitely of an era.
Traditional man.
Yeah, traditional man.
Obviously, we're both traditional men.
Yeah, thank you. That's one of our catchphrases for the show, traditional man.
I was telling someone that we became toxic and alpha male when we talked about EPO last week.
Oh, sure.
She didn't believe me. She didn't believe that you and I could get alpha and toxic.
Of course not.
She was wrong.
Oh, she was wrong.
She was wrong.
I meant every word of it.
Yeah. I punched a hole through your wall, and as I left, and you said, "Hey, Mike, could you not do that again?" I chuckled and then punched another hole right back. Actually, you have a vending machine in your house.
That's true.
I punched the vending machine super hard.
Candy bar fell out.
Yeah. And I said, "Oh. You dropped something."
Just walks away.
And then walk away with it.
Oh my God.
That's like Jim Carrey style. Oh, you dropped something?
Yeah, it's very Jim of him.
All right, you have 2 questions left.
Yeah, so I have 2 questions. One, I guess this is Bugs Bunny is in this movie, and when does he appear in it? If he is in it. Oh, he's not in it?
He's not in it at all.
Oh, wow.
They don't mention Bugs. The lack of Looney Tunes characters in the film really surprised me.
Okay. That's actually kind of weird, I won't lie.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's a very intimate cast. Very small cast.
Yeah, and...
really small, actually, because, usually a Looney Tunes movie, they create a ton of characters for it, even if it's not the classic, team. Right,
exactly. Okay, so it's a tight cast. Bugs is not in it.
Yeah.
What is the movie? Is the movie a comedy or is it a? Yeah, what's the genre of the movie? Do you know?
So it's a comedy, and there's a pastiche of The Thing, which is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Just letting you know that. I'm not saying that anything about the movie itself.
Sure.
And for Invasion of the Body Snatchers, they mentioned that.
Cool.
They mention all sorts of sci-fi stuff. So it's like a sci-fi comedy.
Cool.
Yeah. And the way the sci-fi gets brought into the picture, it definitely, like before the credits, there's a cold open that's sci-fi, but I forgot about it being a sci-fi for a while because it has some slice of life stuff for Looney Tunes, because Looney Tunes is never going to be fully a slice of life. Although my favorite Looney Tunes property is actually this thing called the Looney Tunes Show, which it was like almost a slice of life, like sitcom-y show with Bugs Bunny and Daffy as the lead characters, and it would show more grounded subplots for both of them.
Sure, I'm trying to remember that.
And Lola in that show was voiced by Kristen Chenoweth, who, even though she's from SNL, she's a pretty great comic actor.
Yeah, for sure.
They created a personality for Lola in that show, so I want to give a positive shout out.
That's dope. That's dope to hear. Yeah. Okay, so those are my 3.
Hey guys, this is Mike in the editing bay. I just wanted to let you know I meant Kristen Wiig.
Honestly, for me, I think it sounds flip and good. Well, what say you? Answer? Yeah, my final answer is flip.
So I would give it a soft flip.
Ooh, a soft flip.
Soft flip. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Because like I won't lie, like there were parts of it where I was getting kind of like bored.
Okay, yeah. It's just the lack of characters, it sounds like, too.
It's some of it just feels kind of dry.
Sure.
But I want to give some background to how I got there.
Yeah.
So I booked a ticket at one theater, and I was the only person in that theater. And I was watching 3 dogs at the time, so I had to take them out, and one of the older dogs took longer. And I had planned to drop my guitar off to get serviced at a local guitar shop.
Sure.
I had to do that before the movie.
Yeah.
And I realized, oh my God, I'm not going to make the showing. Like I'm going to be 10 minutes after when they stop showing the previews, because they show previews for about 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yep.
I hope this isn't boring, but so I wound up when the lights were red. I got on my phone and saw that I had remembered that Southdale was showing it at like a time that was essentially 10 to 15 minutes after the other showing.
Nice. Okay.
So I wound up buying tickets for the movie twice.
Okay, I was going to ask. Yeah, because
it was too late
out.
Yeah, because it was too late to refund, because they don't let you refund when it's a showtime. Of course. Sure. So I was also the only person in that theater as well.
Interesting.
So kind of a sad commentary.
I mean, but this is what happens. Like you mentioned, the marketing, and I understand it's from a smaller company, so there wasn't a lot of marketing dollars to go around. It actually made me think about why maybe there wasn't like a YouTube, something on the YouTube that like would, I don't know, I guess not catch from a viral perspective, but just something that people knew, like, hey, this is like actually like out.
Yeah. The mind boggles, because there is a way to market this movie.
Yeah, you don't have to use money, really, I don't think, for something like this, to be honest with you. But
something really crazy. So I mentioned those modern jokes, and I was surprised you didn't ask about those, because that would have been what told you that I liked the movie, because I would have laughed explaining both jokes. So the first one is this is actually, no, I shouldn't say I would have laughed explaining both jokes. This one I don't like so much.
Okay.
But there's a montage of them trying out all these different jobs, and it actually seamlessly cuts it into a Looney Tunes short for like 4 or 5 minutes.
Oh, interesting.
Kind of genius. Yeah.
Visually?
Yeah. Like it basically they say, well, we got to find a job. And then they like pull down the screen, the red circles.
The signature,
the Looney
red
Tunes logo, where it's the red circles, and it's like it has a title of a short in front of it. So if this gets uploaded to YouTube, it'll get some clicks, I think.
I like that.
But at the end of it, so it's a very classic Looney Tunes short where it's like they're creating a ride share where it's you think that it's their car, and then the camera zooms out and it's them with a horse. And they are late for the guy's flight, and the guy has to climb onto the plane, like one of the wing not wings. No, sorry, one of the wheels.
Yeah, sure.
And they're like, hold on tight. And the plane's taking off with him, and he falls. And they don't show him landing, and they don't show like a gag where he's okay.
He just falls from this.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
That's really funny.
I laughed out loud in theater.
Yeah, that's fun.
I guess that counts as a modern joke, so maybe 3 modern jokes.
Sure.
Because they have a ride share. But,
yeah, that's fun.
At the end of the sketch, Daffy says, let's become influencers. So, and I'm like, oh man, of course.
There it goes.
Here we go.
Yep.
It's fine. You know, Daffy blows his butt up by sticking his thumb.
Oh, he does that reverse blow up trick.
He does a BBL.
I like how we know these gags that they do like from a long time ago.
That's the thing. So it's an annoying like, I'm an influencer, but like of course they're going to do commentary on what's happening right now. Looney Tunes has always been about commenting on like and satirizing everything that's happening in the real world.
That was some of their best stuff, honestly.
To
be honest with you.
No, and they messed with Hitler. You know, they had bugs fucking
No, they
Hitler.
had some stuff, man.
Yeah. No, and I look forward to them doing it to a certain other buffoon.
That would.
I won't say.
I wonder if they can make a third. They probably had a few comebacks, but I wonder if they can make another.
I believe.
They've done it so many times. And it seems to work every time.
They just got to be brave. That's all. And Warner Brothers is not brave. So, but
yeah, that's a good point.
We'll see. But so that I wasn't like laughing, but I'm like, I'll respect that they did like the old school gag of him blowing up his body with his own breath. Yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah, it's a classic.
The second. Or I guess the third modern joke that I laughed out loud, and I'm ashamed at how hard I laughed. But thankfully, I was alone.
Sure.
Was they've reached the end of the line with all these jobs, and they don't know how they're going to get the money to fix their house. And Porky says, "Well, do you know what that means?" And then Daffy says, "Well, wait for a stimulus check."
Yo, I would have died laughing in the theater.
And so there's other points in history where we've had stimulus payments. But
yes, but that is so good.
That I laughed so hard.
That is so funny because that would catch me off guard.
Yeah, it caught me completely off guard because it was like, oh, god damn it. They're referencing that. And the way he said stimulus because of his lisp. Stimulus check. Yeah. And so, what I really like about the movie is that there's no like stunt casting. There's no like big celebrity.
Oh,
voice.
Sure.
Like it's real voice actors and the animators. I know I said there's no big event animation and I was surprised by that, but where they put most of their effort was like in the dialogue scenes, like Petunia Pig, when she's talking, she is beautifully animated. Like she's like messing with her hair. She is rolling her eyes at something.
Very lifelike.
It's insane, dude. The slice of life animation for just the conversations between Porky and Daffy, where they're both making so many expressions. And I didn't spoil this, but Father Jim, the father character for the film, he appears in the first like 30 seconds of the movie after the credits.
Okay.
And you know how in animation there's like the background cell and then the foreground cell where all the like fluid animation happens?
Yeah.
This is a character that they created through the background cell. So he's like got watercolor paints. He's beautifully drawn.
Really?
Yeah. He looks incredible. And it must have been hell to animate him when they did animate him because they had to make fluid animation for a giant like painting, like a Paul Bunyan type of guy.
I'm wondering, you ever wonder if like they have some of the old school guys still at the studio working?
Yeah, they do. I would bet money because when you watch like Anime AJ's breakdown for Dragon Ball Daima and for Dragon Ball Super, he would say, and this cut was done by Nakatsuru or like some other guy, and he's like, this is an animator who's been working with Toei since 1980 something, 1990 something.
These guys are still in there doing it.
Yamamuro, who is a huge name in Dragon Ball animation. He used to be like the main character designer for Super, and people hated on him for a bit, but he was one of the main dudes bringing quality stuff in Daima.
He was one of the guys, huh?
Yeah, he was not a director anymore or a character designer, but he was like putting in insane work.
Nice.
And he proved that he still had like incredible talent, and it was so cool. So no, there's workhorse animators that this is what they do.
This is their thing.
What they love. They probably hate it some days, but
of course,
this is what they were put on earth to do. So I guarantee you on this Looney Tunes movie, especially for Father Jim, there were incredible artists working on it and on the whole movie.
Yeah, and the techniques of how to properly animate that, they would kind of have a lot more experience on how to do that, because I couldn't imagine a young person being like, how do I animate this? You know what I mean?
And it's a gag for an animation lover, because there's a moment where he's walking out of their house and you're kind of wondering, how are they going to animate this insanely detailed character walking who's on the background? So, yeah. And they have him, how they have him go down the stairs is like he's literally like, South Park Canadian animation.
Yes.
Like
jerky.
It's horrible.
Yeah, it's so funny.
It's so good.
That's so funny.
And then right after that, they rotoscope. You know what that is? Where rotoscope is where they'll take live action footage and essentially trace over it. So they'll get the exact frame rate of real life and then put it into the animation. So it looks super uncanny valley.
Yes.
But it looks honestly really breathtaking if done well. Like old Disney movies did that a lot.
Oh, yes. I think that rings a bell.
Smiling Friends does it a lot for comedic purposes.
Okay, that's fine.
Most of the time the characters are animated in like twos or like a standard animation frame rate. But for... then all of a sudden a character will be just like real. It's pretty cool. But yeah, they have him become a rotoscope character after that bouncing.
That is weird. That's weird.
You go, holy, like it's like what's it called? Whiplash.
No,
that's a great joke.
That's really awesome. And then just the fact that, remembering back about Looney Tunes, their animation was always pretty good. No, pretty good, to say it very lightly.
Right.
I think for American animation, them and Disney, I think probably were up there as far as like best animated stuff. And Disney had periods where they weren't animating so great too, but they've had moments where they were really good, and then moments where they kind of like, this doesn't look as great or whatever. But Looney Tunes stuff was always pretty good.
Yeah, and they weren't innovators for the live action thing only because Roger Rabbit came out before them.
Yep,
and that looks better than both the Looney Tunes movies, I think.
Yeah.
But for everything else, they've been incredible comedic animation inspiration.
Yeah.
Just when you think about, like, there's so many... what's funny is I didn't appreciate Looney Tunes much until these last few days. Like,
interesting, yeah.
How there's so many great YouTube clips that I have in my favorites that are from Looney Tunes.
Oh, yeah.
And they're only like 6 seconds, but they're so good.
Super fast.
Like, an example is there's a scene where Bugs is on a cliff and a giant bull is on a cliff next to him. And Bugs walks across this like line in order to get to the other cliff. Sure. And he says, you better not take a step or I'll cut this wire, because Bugs walked on the wire and he's saying the bull better not take a step onto that wire. He's going to cut it. Yes. And then the bull grabs the wire and pulls the entire mountain over to him. Defying the laws of nature.
These are all animation jokes, too, by the way, which is so fun.
Because you don't think that element can move.
Yeah.
And then it just goes...
simple as that.
And there's another one where Bugs and Daffy are doing some, like, skiing or such, and... Bugs says, I saw a guy do this in a commercial once, and he throws a bucket of water and it turns into ice.
Yep.
And then Daffy just slams into it and his beak gets stuck. But it's so fast that your brain can't process it.
Yes.
The video's over before you even can process it.
My one clip that I used fairly recently within the last few years is it was Bugs. it was Bugs cutting off Florida off of the map.
Oh, classic.
Yeah, he's like, I forget what he said though. He says something like, "See sayonara or something like that. He's like cutting Florida out, which is so funny because like it's an old joke, but Florida's always maintained this same je ne sais quoi about itself, where it's like we love them and hate them at the same time, and they disagree with the rest of the country, you know, that type of thing. So it was relevant when I utilize it because it was like, oh, Florida doing some crazy shit.
Now, was it always Florida in the original show?
He's done it with a few states, I think, but Florida's a big one, and I think there might have been a gag about California or something like that. But I'm wondering if they added the Florida for the bit, like for the meme. That's my only. Oh, like saying like it's not actually in the show as Florida. Yeah. No, I think it was.
We'll check.
It's something to look into, but I think it was a joke specifically about Florida for some reason. I can't remember.
I hate snowbirds.
Yeah, I wonder if it was like a Disney gag, but anyway. Yeah, but anyway. So Looney Tunes, great, classic. Fantastic animation.
Yeah, and this is a movie where when I walked out of there, I'm like, I definitely really am glad I saw that, glad I supported the cause. But as the days have passed after I watched it, it's sticking in my head in a positive way.
Yeah.
And like, I'm really hoping that the film Wile E. Coyote versus Acme comes out, because it is a live action one, but it's very subversive in that he's suing the Acme Corporation that has created so many devices that have hurt him.
Yeah, destroyed his life.
And he could win.
Coyote
versus Acme. And so WB at this time has not allowed it to be released. It's a tax write-off. And like Will Forte, who I don't know if you like him, but he's one of my favorite comedian comic actors.
Yeah.
He has gone on the record saying like, this is a fantastic movie.
Of course.
I'm gutted. Now, every actor is going to say that about a project they were in.
Sure.
But for some reason, because I have a sort of parasocial relationship with Will Forte, I believe this man.
No, I think it's fine. It's Wile E. Coyote. I don't know. This is a hilarious premise. He's suing the Acme.
It's that type of premise where you go, this has to be good.
Yeah. Oh. It's just so fun. They come up with a lot of that stuff.
No, and this movie is written in a very high quality way.
Sure.
Like, there's no, like I said, the modern jokes are not stupid. Like,
no.
None of it was talking down to the audience at all. And like the thing that I'm shocked by is that this was allowed to be made and that it looks beautiful.
Like it wasn't cheap.
No, it was
in that way.
It was not cheap, and also like people were allowed to, I say allowed, like it's like this freaking, but it is.
Yeah.
It's a difficult thing to work with a big studio. And
yeah.
So maybe that's why they allowed them to cook and create something that was actually like honest and like some, because dude, it does feel like people who love what they do and who are given a chance to make something fun. Like it's not, there's been like a lot of like effusive praise
for the movie.
Yeah.
Sure.
And like I say soft flip only because like I'd still give it like a B minus, like B.
Yeah.
It didn't like light my world on fire,
right.
But I did have a really fun time, and I respect everyone who worked on it.
Awesome.
For what they did. And I don't want to seem like I'm like I didn't like the movie, because I did.
No, it sounds like a solid movie, and it sounds like, to me, a good first step in maybe more integration of them. Maybe them to bubble up again, like I was mentioning before. This is kind of a start, could be a start to that.
I hope so.
But you never know, man. You never know. The Zeitgeist will change, and then all of a sudden we're wearing Bugs Bunny overalls again and shit like that.
Yeah, and I don't know why I'm rooting for them. Like to root for a brand or a corporation is always kind of weird, but
it's really more the connection with the property.
Yeah,
that is Looney Tunes.
It's like they are one of our modern myths where they survive past every like political administration and every technological shift.
Yeah.
I did watch some of the new Looney Tunes stuff a few years ago. Like there's new Looney Tunes shows that have incredible gags.
Oh, really?
Animation.
Sure.
And they stay current. Like, so
yeah.
I'm not even talking about the Slice of Life show I mentioned earlier, but
right.
Like genuinely there's animators and directors who love Looney Tunes and who are putting out awesome Looney Tunes shorts. That's the guy who made this movie. He made just Looney Tunes shorts. This is his first feature.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool, actually.
And he also did that show Clarence on Cartoon Network.
Nice.
I don't think he's the original creator, but
sure.
But yeah, no. So it's a success story, and it's something that I hope we see more of. Is these films that I just wish more people were supporting it. You know?
Yeah, man. I think it takes a lot, though. We're in a weird era for movies.
It does, but it also not a lot is being done. Like a promo with the stimulus check and the I want to be an influencer.
The influencer thing is super.
That's
easy.
what it was made for. I guarantee you that scene was made like to put in the trailer so that they could hook in a kid.
Yeah.
Because kids love influencers.
Yeah, you could do so many things with it. I mean,
yeah. But I without getting into like the what's it called? Backseat driver, armchair quarterback of it all.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
I had a fun time with this movie, and I love great animation, as we've talked about on the show.
Yeah.
And so it's cool to talk about not just anime and animation, but
one of the forefathers.
The forefathers of the West.
Yes, definitely.
I guarantee you a lot of our anime that we talk about, the creators of those shows watch Looney Tunes, you know.
Oh yeah, so absolutely.
Just an icon, and I actually want to look into Looney Tunes more and check out more of their stuff, because for an animation lover, the gags are twice as good, because I know more about animation than I did when I was a kid. And
yeah, for sure.
Maybe your dad can watch with us.
Yeah, he's more of a physical comedy guy.
Oh,
so he would laugh at. He would be more interested in the Wile E. Coyote flick, I'm sure.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We'll figure something.
Yeah, exactly.
I just hope he doesn't get physical with us.
Yeah, he's like, this wasn't that funny.
Dad, stop it.
Relax.
Mr. Jallah, stop.
Mr. Jallah.
I don't know why I can totally picture me yelling, Mr. Jallah, please stop. Look, Bugs is on screen. Look, he's good.
No, it's all good. I think more of that. Yeah, like I said, man, the Hollywood is in an interesting space when it comes to films and promotion and budget and streaming. It's a whole quagmire of things.
Giggity.
Yeah, very gigged.
Giggity goo.
Giggity. Yeah.
The last thing I'll say is just that sometimes industries find a way to evolve when things are stacked against them. There's certain malls that are still doing well right now because they have found a way to bring in people for events. And you have to make people believe that they are going to miss something if they don't show up in person.
Yep.
And for this movie, they did not do that. And to be honest with you, the saddest part is that I can't tell you that it's better on the big screen. Like,
right.
You and Luna and your family could watch this on TV like for Thanksgiving next year.
Yeah.
And it'll be just as fun for you as it was for me in the theater. Like,
right.
I'm just being honest. Like,
no, it's true.
I'd love to tell people you should support this because it's better in theaters.
Right. But it's not.
And that's okay. Not every movie is better in theaters. We can't all be, hey, how about that new Avengers cast announcement? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fancy. It makes it more of a fancier thing when it's in theaters, and I guess it can be treated as more of a special event.
Yeah,
but it's not necessary.
Well, enough filthy American stuff. I'm so
I got to go back to the teenage life. Man.
Okay, cool. You have a teenage anime. This is great.
That's true. No animes. We're still in America. Sorry, we're not even in America. This show actually takes place. The show I'm speaking about, Adolescence. New drama series alert. Okay,
go on. So it's not animated.
It's not animated.
That's fine.
It's not from America. So I heard about this. There's been a lot of talk about this show. It's a Netflix show called Adolescence. Mm-hmm. Hearing the fun thing about this show is that there's a few things. Actually, the show itself is not fun, but but how I found myself watching it is interesting because anybody that would bring up they're talking about TV shows they're watching. The show would come up, and there'd always be one really excited guy about the show, and he'd be like, "Yo, this show was magnificent." Da 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 da. And then there's always the other guy who also watched the show, who stops the person who's excited about the show and says, "I have notes." And then they proceed to kind of talk about them respecting the show but not loving everything about it or something like that. Okay. So there's always this weird, like, in love with person of the show, and then a person that obviously can respect the show but has things to say about it that maybe don't lean as super positive, or the show clashes with what they generally tend to watch or like. And so they see maybe the brilliance in it from like a technical standpoint, but they always have these ideas. So I kept seeing this pattern where there would be a guy that would just love the show. Yeah.
Is it in real life, or are you watching video reviews?
I'm watching I'm listening to podcasts.
Okay.
Where people are talking about shows they're watching or whatever the case, or they just end up bringing up the show like, "Hey, I'm watching this show. I think it's brilliant."
Got it.
And the other guy would be like, "Yeah, I did watch that. I do have some things that I want to say about it." And then they'll go into some critiques.
I was curious if the guy who was excited is a friend of yours who's like usually hyped about stuff.
Yeah, no, these are people that aren't related or connected to me. These are just comedians, strangers, Potters, yeah, exactly. They're really just Potters.
Harry Potter.
Yeah, Harry Potter is in there too. Definitely. Definitely Slytherin. Slytherin or two.
Slithers in here.
Yep, he has a couple of quips or quarrels with the show. But no, so show called Adolescence actually takes place in like northern United Kingdom. Near, I think it's like York or something like that.
Yep.
So they have kind of semi-thickish accents. That was some people's turn offs. Some people find it kind of hard to like watch or find it hard to connect with characters that they can't understand fully when they're speaking a certain way.
Yeah.
It's just people's cup of tea, but I've watched enough like UK stuff where that doesn't really throw me off.
Yeah.
So the show's setting is in there. It's about a teenage boy. I'm not spoiling it because I actually haven't finished the show yet. I started watching, and it's actually only a 4-episode miniseries. The UK really does a lot of those things where they really keep it tight, real tight, which I like.
We'll do like 6
episodes.
Like a regular season.
Yeah, like we're done after 6. Even like Black Mirror, like the first couple seasons of that, it's like 3 episodes.
Yeah, I gotta tell you that I don't watch Black Mirror anymore just because like, this is not a unique opinion at all, but like the world we live in is like
has become it.
It is already dystopian enough. So I'm very particular and careful about the content that I consume.
Sure.
So watching a dystopian technology show as
we sit in our technological dystopian-ish, or at least approaching it.
And that's not even. I used to think people were going too far when they said that stuff, but it's here. Like
we're in it.
We're gonna survive. You and me, we're gonna survive. We're gonna find a way, and we want to help others survive. But go. So it's 4 episodes.
Yeah, it's 4 episodes long. I've watched 2. I was so close to watching the 3rd, just didn't have the time.
How long are the episodes?
They're long though. They're like an hour.
Okay.
Yeah. Pretty sure they're an hour. I have to actually even double check. It could be longer, but I'm pretty sure it's like an hour.
Do you watch with closed captions?
I did.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I did. I don't usually like to, because sometimes I want to be like in the scene.
Yeah.
And sometimes when there's words there, like I'll end up reading instead of like listening and watching. These are things that people get used to, and they're just like, this is how they view TV.
Yeah.
But for me, I kind of like to be like, I like to watch like every like inch of what's going on, and I don't want to miss things if I'm reading something. So
yeah, you'd be surprised, but I'm usually not a closed captions guy either. Like I'm not hard and fast like 24/7 closed captions should always be off. Depends on the show, and
right.
If it's thick accents, then I will put on closed captions just because otherwise I'm going to be potentially triggered to start rewinding stuff.
Yeah.
The OCD stuff. So.
Yeah, and try to turn up the... I think it's cool to turn up the volume.
Soundbar.
Soundbar, absolutely.
But anyway,
gotta have a good soundbar. But my thing is like... So I started watching the show 2 episodes in. Show's about a teenage boy accused of murder of like another teenage girl.
Oh.
Yeah, it's... And kind of the show ensues from there. The things that... the things that sparked my interest about this show was, one, this show is a one-shot all the way through it. And I was like, well, I've seen a movie and maybe a few other things where it's like one-shotted. Mm-hmm. So I'm not foreign to the idea, but I always thought it was a cool idea, like from a directing standpoint and an acting standpoint, by the way, to be able to pull off. So when I heard that the show was was all one-shot, I was like, yo, that's dope. And so I was interested by that. I was also interested, I heard that the boy, the lead boy that accused of murder, his first acting job.
Wow.
Doing a one-shot.
Wow. Okay.
It's incredible. I was like, so this is a lot of technical things that are going on with the show that really sparked my nerdy, snobbery interest in it. Made me like things that jumped out where I'm like, they're doing feats that I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like that type of energy. So I heard that. And then watching it, it really unfolds into something really captivating. And while you're watching it, it's honestly, man, I don't know how people do the one shot with so many people as part of the cast. 1 and 2. Even if it's the director's idea to do a one shot, your cameraman has to be so. I feel like he has to know all the routes. There's nothing on the floor like where like you see like markers or something where it's like, okay, he has to be here and I has to be like this. The guy's just doing it, and like everybody's able to. It's like a play. Yeah. I guess when you think about it that way, like people on stage, they're kind of acting in real time, and the show is like that in a way. So I thought it was really interesting, but I'm very, very interested in it. Started watching the first two episodes. I got 2 more left, so I'm basically halfway through. I heard the 3rd episode is the standout episode of the series. Man, okay. So I just missed it. But it's okay because I'm already in. It's not like the show like didn't catch me in the first episode or the first like so minutes of the show. So I thought that was great. But I highly recommend it. Even only watching 2 episodes in, I think it's something interesting to watch. I don't think it's a traditional whodunit though. Mm-hmm. It's really more about. It's about adolescence. I mean, the show's called Adolescence. It's actually about that, and the kids kind of go into talking about things that they're dealing with and. The pressures and the way they communicate with each other on social media and shit like that. So I thought that was really interesting too. Obviously makes me scared a little bit.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Yeah. So it's wild. So yeah, I highly recommend that show. I will, report back after finishing the last 2 episodes because I'll do like kind of like a retrospective of like the show and my thoughts and how I think the commentary that they're speaking about in the show relates into real life and children of the time and of the time now and stuff like that. Because there's a lot to speak about, and I think that's what the show is really about. Mm-hmm. Less so about the whodunit piece and more about commentary on how the children go about life now.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
One of my favorite comedians that I follow, Harper Rose, she made like a pretty personal story post about this show.
Oh, she did? Okay. Yeah. So you're up on what's going on.
Well, I've only heard that it like alludes to, or the story post alluded to it being about young men.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Young men coming up in this age where there's social media and like misinformation. Yep. And alt-right pipelines.
Yep, absolutely.
So, yeah, and she did a really passionate appeal for people to watch and for like to try to stay connected to your like
children,
and also your family.
Yeah,
This is her story. She just mentioned stuff about her brother.
Oh, sure.
Her brother had realized that a lot of stuff that he thought was fact was just stuff he heard other people talk about.
Yeah.
And he didn't double check it on, reliable sources.
No.
So it's like secondhand news that becomes part of your core beliefs. And then you didn't even do any research, and you spread harmful,
yeah, you just go living this way based on some things that a couple guys said that resonates with you. Yeah. By the way, I remember that type of shit in being a teenager.
Yeah, no, 100% in high school. Yeah,
we didn't even get bombarded with the way they get.
No, I get scared.
Crazy,
I get so scared when I hear about how girls bully other girls, and it's not just girls, but on Instagram, Snapchat. On Snapchat, they can delete their message potentially before you could screenshot it and say this girl's harassing me.
Yep.
Or this guy's sexually harassing me.
Yep.
And this other genders can sexually harass. I'm just using examples.
Of course.
It's scary stuff, and I'm so grateful that when I was growing up, I just had AIM, and that was confusing to our parents.
Yeah, it's funny because it was just. I could see how it would be very confusing. It's computers and
simple time.
Yeah, speaking online to each other was weird.
Yeah,
it's different. Not weird actually. It just was a different way of communication.
But to my parents, it was be careful that a man isn't watching, and then he doesn't meet up with you at the mall.
And we're like, what are you talking about?
And they're like, I don't know. But it's interesting that nowadays meeting up with online friends seems to has become more normalized. I know I just butchered that. I go, seems to has become.
No, but I get where you're getting at, which is basically there is a positive. There is. That can also be viewed from a negative and positive perspective. And then you kind of have to have trust in your child, or at least double checking with them that things are copacetic before they start doing that type of thing.
Yeah, you can't just let them free completely, but you also can't be a helicopter parent and be constantly not giving them any lead.
Yeah, because when you're tight like that, they'll run.
Yeah, it'll happen eventually, whether it's while they're living under your roof or in college.
They will exercise their right.
So controlled chaos or controlled freedom.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a parent.
Yes,
but I have a dog.
Yes, exactly. You're watching and you're monitoring.
Yeah, I'm monitoring her, and she's on the chats, but she's doing okay. She's not saying anything bad.
No,
she would never bully anyone.
No, I don't think that would be more of a cat thing.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, the cats are so mean.
They're such a they're a real piece of work.
They find your biggest insecurity and just talk to you about it all the time.
Yeah. Knock stuff over, shit like that.
Gray hair. They'll just meow at me and go, gray hair.
You know what's funny? We're talking about cats, and I totally forgot to bring up a movie that I saw. This is really bizarre. I saw a movie.
Dude, yeah, and I was like, we should do a mutual flop or flip.
Yeah, I saw one.
What'd you see?
I saw Flow.
Flow?
Yes, I saw the cat movie Flow.
That's a family movie, yeah. I've heard about this.
Yeah, okay. we could do a quick little I'm going to be the other guy.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the flip or flop guy.
Dude.
You're going to be the flop or flip guy.
Yeah. I'm the guy who prevents the lawsuit from the
yes, exactly. Show. I'm calling them to come. Look, it's flip or flop.
And then someone says, did you guys say flubber? No, it's flop or flip.
Flop or flip. So I saw this movie called Flow on Max.
You know what's funny?
Yeah. Did you see it?
No, but I keep thinking of, we used to have a segment on Dad Men called Flow Watch. Because there was a background actor played by the person who played Flo in the insurance commercials for Progressive.
Shout out Flo.
we would keep watch to see if she appeared in that episode, and then that segment got discontinued because in season 2
She was gone.
She was gone.
She was gone.
That's probably why Dad Men didn't work out.
Because Flo wasn't there.
Well, in short-sighted segments where we were like, okay, this is going to be like segments based on short characters that weren't around.
I miss the cuteness of that. Is still resonates with me though. The Flo Watch.
Oh, yeah, that was my favorite.
That shit's cute.
That was my favorite part of the show. was for Flo Watch this week because it's such a gross name.
Yes, it is.
Flo.
Yeah, Flo Watch.
So, but okay, and I'm going to shut up now. I've been interrupting you.
No, you're good because I'm B Mike right now. I assume the B Mike, but I did see the movie Flo. I actually watched it with I watched it with my daughter, interestingly enough. Well, actually not interestingly enough because I think, honestly, I wouldn't have seen it if we weren't together and I was kind of looking for stuff to put on the TV. And I think I actually might have heard a little bit, some rumblings about the movie, like winning some, I don't know if it's winning anything, but I think it's being rated highly and stuff like that.
Didn't it get nominated for an Oscar?
Something like that. Either nomination or won something, but there was some buzz around it. I had seen the poster pops up all the time when you turn on Max. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. So I watched the movie, man. About a black cat. Interestingly enough, the movie doesn't. Well, that's not. I was gonna say there's no talking in the movie. Actually, no one speaks.
This has been the episode of like we say one thing and then we go, well, actually, let me take that.
Actually, you know what? Yeah, no, but I guess honestly, if you're thinking about it, you were just talking about a movie with animals and they did speak. So me clarifying it actually isn't a crazy thing. No. Now that I'm thinking about it, so yeah, there's no commentary. A lot of there's animal sounds. This is an adventure movie about a black cat.
So the animals don't talk in this movie, but occasionally a little person.
Yeah, a little like no. So no speaking and no people in this movie.
Wow.
Yeah. So no people, no speaking.
Risky move.
Really, actually. So you're really just relying on the lifelikeness of a cat. Its adventure with the world. The time period is also very ambiguous. It makes it look like it's some future time, not too far in the future, when a disaster had happened.
Okay.
And there's no people there anymore. Wow. Or at least where the cat is located, there is no more people.
Okay.
So the cat's coming back to this house and sleeping on this bed. And in the house, there's drawings of cats, statues of cats outside leading to the house, statues of carved cats in the home. Mm-hmm. So whoever was there had an affinity for cats, and the cat lived in this house. Then all of a sudden, there's a flood, like a very dramatic flood. That happens, and the cat is forced to try to find higher ground.
Okay.
The flood is, and so why I'm saying that this is like in the future, something happened with like some type of global warming thing or
climate disaster.
Yeah, some climate disaster. So the water gets as high as like giant like statues like height. So like the water's really basically inhabitable for like maybe for us humans to be living in, because you would basically have to be living on a boat. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the cat's trying to escape the water. Cat encounters a pack of dogs. Dogs try to chase the cat, as you know, as they do.
Dogs, I hate dogs.
Them damn dogs chasing the cat.
That's horrible, compromising audio for me. I hate dogs.
I hate those dogs.
Those damn dogs. At one of my old apartments that I lived at, one of the Wi-Fi networks, and this was before my dog and I moved in.
Sure.
Thankfully, but it was called "Shut That Damn Dog Up." was so good.
That's a good.
Yeah.
Shut that damn dog.
Perfect for apartment living.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's
Yeah.
a fantastic Wi-Fi. Damn, I have to steal that. That's fucking funny.
Shut that damn
Shut that damn dog.
Immediately reminds you, okay, I'm living with other people.
Yep, obviously.
I'm scared. I'm a
Yeah,
little scared.
I'm gonna try to hack into his system. No, so anyway, so the dogs are chasing the cat. Cat's trying to find higher ground. The dogs end up like finding like one of the dogs actually tends to like the cat,
Okay.
and the other dogs kind of like break off. So it's like a golden retriever and the black cat. Cat runs away from the dog, trying to find higher ground. It's climbing up things. Ends up getting wet. You know, cats hate water.
Yeah.
So the cat's like drowning, basically can't swim very well. Gets saved by like some type of another thing that I thought was weird. There's this whale-like creature, but it looks like a dinosaur-like whale, like some whale that's like from like either a long time ago or a morphed whale.
It's evolved, yeah.
Yeah, like so it's really interesting. Anyway, that happens. The cat gets saved numerous times by just other animals.
Yeah.
It encounters a bird, like a giant bird. Kind of looks like a flamingo, but it's not pink. It's white.
Yeah.
Long legs. I don't know the type of bird it is. And then there's this animal that's it's like
Capybara?
yes, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's capybara, something like that. It's like an animal like that. And they all find a boat. They all get on this boat, and all this goofiness ensues. They're basically trying to survive.
Okay, cool.
They're trying to survive. Things happen. They run into other animals. The waters keeps rising. Yes.
Second question.
Oh, what was your first?
My first one was... What was my first one? I had one.
Yeah.
I know I had
Oh, you asked about... Actually, you didn't. I think I told you kind of what was going on with the time.
I had a question, I swear to God.
Well, we'll strike it from the record now. Now you get a negative.
You don't have to do
questions.
that. That's not fair. That's not fair. I'll just do two.
Sure.
Is there much music in said film?
There is music, but not a ton, actually.
I had a qualifying question about dialogue. That was my first question.
Aha.
So we've done
That's right. That's right. The dialogue. Yes.
Not much music.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. All right.
Yeah, the music's there for sure. It's definitely there, especially at like impactful parts.
All right. Okay.
But it's actually not as much music.
All right.
It's very the characters and the adventure that they're going on and their interactions with each other is very lifelike.
Yeah.
It's very like, this is how a cat would react if it was like amongst other animals. This is what the dog would want to do if it was with other animals. The dog's very playful. The cat's like, what are you doing? That type of energy.
Yeah, I love that type of 3D animation.
Yeah. Even though their movement is very like, it's a 3D movie.
Yeah.
But it's designed very interestingly. The palette is like kind of, I honestly don't really know how to describe it. It's kind of faded.
Yeah, I've seen the lighting seems kind of low.
Yeah, lighting's low. It's a little faded. It's a little textural. Like it's not smooth.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of granule a little bit.
Okay.
It's interesting. It's very different.
Okay. And I don't want you to spoil it because the truth is that, and I'll have a rant about this to close out the episode. I think. You're making me want to watch it. So
yeah.
I don't want you to spoil the like ending.
No, I don't think I'll get into much of that. But It's basically this adventure story with this cat.
Yeah, and so nothing like reinventing the wheel, but the way you're describing it, it reminds me of like there was that stretch in the beginning of Wall-E.
Yeah.
It's 15 minutes of no dialogue.
Yeah.
And I remember even as a young man watching, you know who I saw that movie with, by the way? Aaron Isaacs.
Of course.
He took me to see it.
The movie man that is Aaron Isaacs.
Yeah. Shout out
you too, by the way. I mean, you guys are movie buffs.
I'm a more fucked up movie man, though.
Yeah, a twisted.
Yeah, I'm a twisted dark doctor. The Dark Doctor.
I mean, we had our time as teenagers where most of the shit we were watching was pretty...
Dude, that fucked me up. We've talked about that. Yeah, no, we've talked about that. So it reminds me of Wall-E.
Yep.
But it also just reminds me of like all sorts of different Pixar stuff.
Yeah.
And this is Pixar, correct? Or no?
To be truthfully honest, I'm going to look that up right now because
It just seems like it.
I believe this is actually from a company that's not very known to
wow.
be honest.
Okay. Cool. So it reminds me of classic Pixar then is what I'll say. And
sure.
Even as a kid, when the segment of the movie where there's not any dialogue and Wall-E ends, there's always just this tiny part of me that feels a little bit, not like the movie gets bad, because it's a great movie, one of my favorites by Pixar. But
yeah.
there's just this part of me, like the creativity and imagination that I feel that it deflates a bit. You know?
Right.
And that's, it's cool that there's like a movie that could potentially carry that feeling of imagination and like, wow, what happened here? What's going on for the whole time? Whereas like Wall-E eventually starts explaining not everything. They leave some mysteries, but there's more
subtext, I guess, that's like unveiled.
In Wall-E, the movie starts being told in a conventional way eventually through dialogue. Whereas like this sounds like there's a lot of body language. And,
it's basically all body language.
All right, so it's up to me to guess if this is a flop or a flip.
Yeah.
I can't fathom this not being a flip. I know that you forgot it for a spell.
I did.
But I think it's because that's daddy-daughter movie time, and that's a different classification than when you're watching something for the Oculus Slide podcast.
Yes, absolutely. So, that was a sneaky watch. Sneaky watch. I was like, wait, I did watch a movie. Right? I was like, wait a minute. I did watch something animated. This fits with my show.
Dude, I wish there was a video of that, because that was a perfect pose.
Right? This fits with my show.
Your hands were up. That was great. So I can't fathom this not being a flip. I'm guessing it's a flip.
Yeah, it definitely was a flip.
Oh, thank God.
Definitely was a flip.
Okay.
I could have like tried to swerve that, but no, there's no need to swerve it.
That's funny.
It's a flip. I was. It really pulled me in. So interesting. It's also interesting watching with a kid too, because like we both end up getting pulled in the same way because there's no words.
Yeah.
I'm also kind of adding word as I'm watching with a younger person. Say if it was just me, I guess I don't know if I would speak to myself as often of like what's going on, da 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 da. But when I'm watching with a kid, I'm kind of like adding some like words to fill in space. I'm like, oh, what's he looking at? Like stuff like that, or I hope he gets out of that type of energy. I hope he gets out of that. That
you got to say that as a dad.
Yeah. Like there's things where you're like, otherwise it's just quiet and it's music and. It's kind of my inner thoughts out, and then they can hear that and like process. Okay,
helps them process it later on.
Yeah, absolutely.
When they're watching movies on their own.
Exactly. they have things they're thinking about while they're watching it. No, I really enjoyed it.
Sweet.
It has a really interesting tone too. The tone of the movie is probably the most surprising to me.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to. I mean, I don't know if I'm not really spoiling anything by saying whatever the tone is, I guess. But
no, I don't think so. You're making me want to watch it more.
Yeah, the tone is similar, I guess, to the Wall-E stuff. It has this. So I sell it to my daughter. I'm like, it's like an adventure movie, but it actually is deeper than that. Weirdly enough. Because like I said, we don't know when it's taking place. So as an adult, I'm thinking of all these things while the movie's going on. Like I'm in it with the cat because it's very centralized around the cat and its perspective. And you're almost like almost following as a POV. Like it's almost like, the camera just follows the cat all the way through. Yeah. So you're really there as the cat's experiencing these things. And you're kind of like you're experiencing it with the cat. These things are happening. You're reacting to them as if you're the cat. So it's interesting, but there's, somber notes and, it's captivating. That's the best word I can describe it. It's very captivating.
Okay.
Especially when there's no words. You're really locked in.
Yeah.
So.
Takes skill to tell a movie mostly visually.
Yeah. I see why people were talking about it, but it's strong.
Cool. I will definitely check both of those things out. Not just Adolescence, but what's it called?
The Flow. It's not called The Flow. It's called Flow.
Flow.
Yeah.
I'll definitely watch Flow as opposed to Flow Watch.
Yes. We'll switch off of the Flow Watch and go into watching Flow.
Watching Flow. That's right. I just want to say, man, it's been really fun talking to you tonight. And
yeah, for sure.
It's just a reminder. Actually, it's not even a reminder. See, this is the episode where we say something and then rephrase it.
Mm-hmm. We're thinking very actively. What's going on.
And actively listening to.
There you go.
But I was just taken aback by how, like, you were talking about two things that I've heard about online for weeks.
Same.
And nothing I read online made me want to watch those properties that you talked about.
Oh, interesting.
Even Harper Rose's story, like I'm like, you know, it's a Netflix show, but like it bugs me. I guess Harper's story was great. This is not about that.
No,
but it bugs me that most online discussion about like shows and movies is very like bite size.
Yeah,
and like if you're gonna watch a movie on these super bite-sized like shorts on YouTube,
or people reacting,
or
basically.
People only putting a number rating and not actually talking about the movie.
Sure.
This is why the other day I got passionate about like how I have a network of people who I talk about music with.
Right.
I don't just like say, "Got any new music?" You know, when you listening to it, like no, we talk about it, and that is the best way to find music that you're passionate about. Not an algorithm, not checking out a Pitchfork review.
Right.
I feel like I didn't hear anything about the show being
one shot,
or about like, you know, that movie, like the genius device of Flow, where you don't know what time period it's taking place in. Like that,
I really like that.
Immediately hooks me in and goes, whoa. Like,
yeah.
It gets my imagination going in both ways. And like, it's just so bite-sized, and the attention economy is so fucked that like the stuff you see online that is like longer, like video reviews by those types of guys on YouTube. A lot of the discussion is just a guy staring at a camera and saying, "I liked the score by blank blank. You know, I liked this. The animation's great."
Right.
But like,
I thought this part was very cool, like in the movie or whatever.
Yeah, and like, I'm not blaming like the people who post a certain way or who make shorts on TikTok or whatever, but I guess I'm just saying this episode is like the perfect example of like, talk to your friends, like stay in touch with people. And actively ask people about their lives and what they're going through. Yeah. Not only will you get better art out of it and better like recommendations, but you'll connect with the person, you know, that you call your friend or remember better. I don't know.
And you just get like it's a feedback loop thing. That positive.
I told you this earlier today, but this show has made my life better. The Oculus Slide show, because like without this show, I wouldn't have started watching Hajime no Ippo for sure, and then Akaiji, but it's also because you and I, we meet every week. And male friendship. It's like.
It's a dying art.
Yeah, it's a dying art, especially when, no disrespect to the fathers, but when you have kids, that can be one of the first things to go away.
It's definitely a weight.
Yeah. But what was I saying? Oh, just like
the connection piece is important.
Yeah, staying connected to people. And if I had gone about my life before doing this show and just like been reading forums and
like we do,
reading Twitter and just going, interesting. Okay, anyway, interesting. Like I'm not going to watch a show on Netflix, but if I talk to someone and they casually like tell me about the show instead of just saying,
even in podcasts and stuff, and certain ones I will get more information on, and those are very helpful, which helps catch me on a hook of something. But that way of digesting, like if you should or shouldn't watch something, has to happen a few times. Like I mentioned to you before, I had heard a few times that there would be this trend where one person would be like, "I really love this show," and and it's awesome, and another person would have like maybe the contrary or like some critiques. Next show, next podcast or show that I'm listening to, somebody mentions the show again, very ecstatic about it. they're not giving you too much, but they're giving you some information about the show, like a basic synopsis or whatever the case. Maybe a nice fun fact that you're like, oh, that's interesting. But then somebody else would come in and that had to happen 2 or 3 times for me to be like, I guess I could turn this on and watch. You don't get the excitement where you're like, let me see what this show can. Will I get the same? You know what I'm saying? Like, let it impress me, basically. Energy. So
I guess I was just living in a very headline-based way and very number-based. Like, did it get a good review? But nowadays, I really want to actively watch stuff that doesn't have the super highest Rotten Tomatoes score or the best score on IGN.
It's something I need to detox myself from. Not the IGN part, but actually, honestly, I have detoxed myself from because I don't actually even look at Rotten Tomato as much anymore. But I will, if I am researching something, I will notice what they're scored, and it will turn me on or off.
I like to look it up after I've seen it.
I like that.
And I've seen movies that I really loved that I went to Rotten Tomatoes after, and they had the score was cumulatively negative. One of the big things people do is they pretend that Rotten Tomatoes is like an organization that rates the movies themselves. So I rephrase that. The Rotten Tomatoes hated that.
They hated that.
So anywho, I guess I don't mean to sound old-fashioned, but just have real conversations with people if you can. It'll be awkward at first, but just put yourself out there and make friendships and that's so obvious. Make friendships.
But the thing is this is a PSA just for, I feel like, just for in general.
It's kind of related to the Adolescence show, right?
Thank you.
You know, stay connected and like have uncomfortable conversations. And there's an old cheesy line I saw from a forum signature a while back. I don't know what it's from, but the gist of it was the best vitamin to take to get friends is B1. Because B1. It's so cheesy.
It's very cheesy, but I enjoy it.
But I remembered it for my whole life.
B1,
ever since I read that. And I always, if I catch myself on a text chain with a friend and I feel like I'm like, God, I haven't asked about them authentically in a few messages.
Sure.
I make sure to toss the ball back to them. And, you know, I've been interrupting you more lately on this pod, and I don't mean to.
No, you're good.
I'm just having fun.
You're good. Honestly, it's so funny that you say that because that's generally what I do a lot. It's a weird aging reflex. It's something that happens way more now than it used to. And as I've gotten older, it's like a really weird reflex. Like my timing is off, and it's just always off. It's like, which is horrible. But I don't know. They're just kind of part of my cadence, and it's much worse on the phone. My timing is really really off because like there's like a delay, not a real delay, but phone conversation versus like in person, like. I guess you can read somebody's body to kind of know when in and out, but this is kind of like more like inside baseball of like conversation and shit. I don't want to get into that, but I feel you though. I'm not worried about it because TLDR, I'm not worried about it because I generally do it to most people.
Next week we'll do a tier list of conversations.
Conversation tier list.
Spoiler alert, I have voice memos ahead of phone calls. I prefer voice memos to phone calls.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. I mean, actually, that's becoming a trend now. Not so much to say like it's trendy, but what I mean is like I'm seeing more of that. People just kind of like to shoot a voicemail out, and I kind of want to start doing that myself, honestly.
Yeah, and I like it because you can treat a friend that has a lot of drama going on as a podcast. Like I have friends who have a lot of great stories, and I put my phone down and get to work, and then they're just like, Michael, this happened, then this happened. And it's a podcast from my friend directed toward me.
That's a great point.
So for our Patreon, we will be doing personalized podcasts to our listeners.
Personal rants.
Just give us a subject. We'll rant about it, even if we don't know about it.
We'll just go on a tangent about it.
We're going off. All right. Well, stay tuned for anime.
Anime's coming.
This is the second episode. Flop or Flip is cursed because every time we do it, there's no anime.
I think it should. Well, I don't want to put any rules around it, but I think it's a fun trend to have it be very. It's in its own bubble now. Like it's kind of exists with like the general zeitgeist of like media that's going on.
Yeah, no, I like Flop or Flip being about current films.
Yeah.
Like we have a more normal, or take two. Mm-hmm. We have a more natural cadence for talking about old anime.
Yep. And how it relates even to new anime.
Yeah. But when we talk about like a recent theatrical blockbuster type movie, Flop or Flip is a good format for it.
It is. So it's fun because I think it's a unique way to break down a movie. Yeah. I haven't seen anybody do it.
Yeah, I mean, most people try to do Flip or Flop, and that's
that's who
terrible.
Wants a new house?
It's just terrible.
Or sell one.
So stay up to date by following us on Instagram, and you can go on TikTok if you want. I don't know if I'll ever go back on there, but
you can jump on there and make a fake fan account. And,
do fan cams for us. Even though we don't have any videos, just find videos.
Take the small clips that you do have of us and just keep flagging that and like posting that out.
That's the thing about memes, dude, is that they'll add in extra music and context that wasn't even there in the original clip. So I'm worried about bugs in Florida, but we'll figure it out.
I'm worried about the bugs in Florida clip.
We'll do a recount. We'll do a recount about Florida.
I think that's probably what that's what that clip was.
Yes.
It's the recount.
I've made a recount. Yep. We'll be back next week, and let's promise them some anime next week.
Oh yeah, definitely get some anime next week. All right, for sure.
But until then,
let's slide out.
Slide out of here. Woo!